Hi everyone, this is Nadia. I'm an occult specialist that uses spiritual intelligence to empower entrepreneurs into healthy, empowered money story to live a balanced life. Today's topic I want to be covering is something that so many of my friends have talked to me about, and also identically my clients. And it's things that when I was younger personally that I struggled with a lot, and that is to do with the prison of excellence, or I put it in quote marks, the prison of excellence. Now, what does the prison of excellence really mean, and how can we overcome it? The prison of excellence, in other words, is known as the imposter syndrome or is known as perfectionism. Okay, so we live in a society where we are given a double-bind narcissistic message. We are told, just be yourself, and I did say that in one of my previous videos. It is probably one of the worst advice to give people because they don't know how to be themselves. They have no idea of what themselves looks like. They constantly check in with whatever social circle they're with or their family or whatever it is, because they just want to be liked. Most people are people pleasers, and that comes from your family. So if you've had like really tough parents, tough family, people of my culture know this, that they always want you to be educated to a very high standard, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you feel like, oh god, anything less than an A or an A star is just, there's something wrong, because so many people put emphasis and focus on academia instead of real wild life survival strategy skills and how to overcome difficult and challenging situations that we face. Now, this prison of excellence, I've seen a lot with business owners. I see a lot with the dating world or attraction or whatever it is. We constantly feel that if we are not perfect, people won't like us. And if they do like us, why do they like us? Because there's obviously something wrong with me. So I want to get into it on this video. And I want to cover the difference between finishing and performing your work to a very high standard and being polished and put together, as opposed to being perfect. So being perfect is a lot of pressure. There is absolutely no human being in this world that's perfect. You're human for a reason, okay? You're not divine. You have the divinity within you, but you're not divine. You're not God, so you cannot be perfect. And so I would say, at least the predominance of the people I have met in my life come from a toxic, sick, abusive, narcissistic, and dysfunctional families. They don't see it that way. They think the dysfunction in their family is normal. I've met many people who think that the dysfunction of their family is normal. And why would you question it? Why would you think your parents are wrong? Or why would you think, your siblings are wrong? Or why would you think your grandparents are wrong? Or your ancestral lineage is wrong? But in actual fact, when you start to do that emotional maturity work, when you start to do the mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects of maturity, you come to realize how many things have stopped you in your blood lineage, how many things force you to play a smaller game, how many things force you to hide all the time, especially if you've come from an abusive and traumatic household where maybe your parents just used you, or they abused you, or they were never there for you, there was emotional neglect. Your father, if you're a man, never taught you how to be a man. Obviously, maybe he wasn't there, maybe he passed away. There was abandonment issues. Your mom, for women, never taught you how to be a woman. Like, my mom never taught me how to be a woman. It's not because she's a bad individual. We just had too much as a family going on. We were in survival mode. And even if she wanted to teach me stuff, she had no time. She just was busy trying to keep me and herself alive, and it was very difficult. So there was a lot of things that I missed out on, and I had to teach myself. So I don't resent my mom for that at all. She did the best of what she could. But the interesting part that I often come to find is that there's a sense of perfectionism. So lots of people have this sense of, especially if you have Virgo or Libra in anywhere in your chart, your sun, your moon, your rising, your Mars, your Venus, your Mercury, you're going to be inclined to people please, especially if you have Libra in your chart. You're very concerned about what people think of you all the time. I have a Libra descendant, so it doesn't affect me as heavily, but for me, I always love like eloquence, manners, charm, etiquette, grace, the nice and proper way to do things, like having decorum in public, in essence. So this prison of excellence becomes a point where I know a lot of I guess techie circles call it analysis paralysis. Basically, you get too much into your mind, you're constantly worried, what's your backdrop, how do you look, blah blah, this that. You're so self-conscious all the time. And I think when I really dig into it, some people will refute it and say, well, we just want to present ourselves well. And realistically, I don't think there's anything wrong with presenting yourself well. The real kicker or the real clincher for me is when you have maybe goals, aspirations, dreams, you have something you really want to say to somebody, you have maybe amends you want to make, you want to do something, but you lack the courage and the confidence to go ahead and do it because you're constantly worried, what is the other person going to think? Well, you know what? You can't change anybody's opinions. You can't change their beliefs. You cannot do anything. Why even bother wasting energy in trying? I always say that. The only person that can change a person is themselves. If they have seen a better way for themselves, if they are willing, because there is that saying, in order to do better, you need to know better. Well, some people do know better as well, and they still don't do better because they are so committed to the fuckery that they grew up in, or the nonsense and the chaos, and it excites them. It gives them, that cortisol, that adrenaline rush. So it goes into, I guess, a neurobiological perspective as well. I guess a lot of people who are neurodivergent can understand that too. So I want to stick to the topic and I want to talk about this procrastination thing. So procrastination for me is basically that prison of excellence. It's that prison all the time where we are constantly, it's that self-conscious thing. What does this person think? Do they think I'm fat? Do they think I'm ugly? Are they going to like me? If I don't post this, I'm not going to be relevant. It's that, I went to an event a couple of years ago, I think it was just 2 summers ago, and people at that table were talking about FOMO, so fear of missing out. You don't miss out on anything when you are at peace with yourself. There are so many events that I get invited to, I just turn them down. There's so many places that I have been asked to socialize, I've turned them down because they're not of my standard and they're not of my liking. And it's not about going over there and sitting at a table like a sheep and just agreeing like, yeah, if I don't like something, I will let people know, I agree, I disagree to agree, or I agree to disagree, whatever you want to call it. And this prison affects even the most psychic of people, the most intelligent of people, because like I said, we have that narcissistic double bind message that we are given in society. Be yourself, which, like, I'm gonna repeat myself again, is the worst kind of analogy to give people in today's world. Because most people do not have the confidence to carry themselves into be yourself. By being yourself, you have to be an individual. You have to be somebody that questions, that thinks. And then there are many traps as well. For instance, I had this conversation with somebody who said, oh, employment all looks the same. And to which I responded, I think he was trying to be smug about the fact that he worked for himself. And I said, you know what, all entrepreneurship looks the same as well. It's the same. Let's go for like seed capital funding, let's go for like financing, let's run a business here. It's the same tried and tested boring shit. If you really want to get into the nuts and bolts and the nooks and crannies of stuff, entrepreneurship is even more predictable than employment. And you want to know why? Because it's so predictable in being unpredictable. So let's really explore this notion of why people feel that they need to be perfect all the time. They need to be perfect for approval, because in us as human beings, we are hardwired to be accepted by a tribe, to be accepted and loved by people, and to want a place to belong. I learned as a little girl at a very young age that most places did not accept me, they did not like me, I did not belong to them because my thoughts and opinions were my own. Just because my religion told me to do something, I didn't go ahead and do it. Just because my culture told me to do something, I didn't go ahead and do it. Just because my family told me to do something, I didn't go ahead and do it. I had my own opinions and my own thoughts. I said, I want to live life for myself. I never want to get to a certain age in my life or a certain place in my life where I think, you know what, fuck everybody, I hate everyone, I'm resentful because I never got to live life for myself. And there are millions, most especially women, I will say this, women are very resentful of their lives because for the most part, society, most especially if women look like me, I'm talking about skin tone wise, never get to experience freedom. They're always restricted. It's always, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't eat here, you can't meet this one, you can't wear this, you can't. It's always a no. So that resentment festers inside, and then that resentment turns into apathy, it turns into despair. It's a terrible thing. And then it squashes you. You know, you can never expand, you can never live free, your soul can never be happy inside. So then when your soul is not happy inside, you are constantly trying to please other people. You're constantly trying to appease them, and like, you know, you put up like your best clothes or your best this, and yeah, we want to present ourselves in a good light, of course, undoubtedly. But really the driver and the kicker I always ask is, like, for instance, I have clients that come to me and say, hey, in a strategy session, we want to do this business, or we would like to do this, and this is what we'd like to achieve. A woman comes to me and says, hey, I want to be more sexy, or, you know, I want to tone down a certain amount. It's always very spiritually, DNA, psychologically based, that I help people and really get through their mentality and their blocks, and just allowing them a space to speak. And there's always a sense of, I need to be perfect. I need people to see me this way, because if they don't see me this way, they won't respect me, or they won't do this, or they won't do that. And I think the people in society who are most feared are people who are just comfortable to be themselves. They don't give a fuck about people's opinions. They don't care. I've gone into big 5-star hotels. People are all pouring things into like a proper glass and everything. Sometimes I just pick up the bottle and drink it. And you know, I can see people look at me and be like, does she not have manners? Is there something wrong with her? No, I'm just comfortable doing that. That's the thing. And when you are comfortable and you take your comfort to places, people also feel like they can be themselves with you. They can finally open up to you. They don't feel like there is this rigid box of how you need to behave. We definitely see this rigid box in the upper echelons of society, where it becomes awkward. For a lot of people who are mannerless, and that's a predominance of society, they don't have a proper way of eloquence, of speech, of verbalization, of sitting, eating, drinking, talking, because you know, one of my friends always says that manners are litmus tests for the wealthy, and that's very true. So when you come to launch and release a new product, you come to speak to different prospects in business, you come to dating options, you're in love with somebody, now you're constantly in your mind thinking, how do I approach this person? What do I say to them? Are they going to laugh at me? Are they going to reject me? Who cares even if they do that? What difference is it going to make to you? You've said your piece. There are people that I maybe have called, they've left me on read. There are people I have WhatsApped, they have text, they just left me on read, or maybe I know they've read the message. Whether it's I could see it or not, it doesn't make a difference. Everybody's glued to their phone these days. I couldn't care less. I've said my piece. And so many people, they are trained to I guess solicit their power from other people. So what happens is that, for instance, I texted somebody or I messaged someone and I don't hear back from them. It's not going to make any impact on my ego. It's not going to make any impact on, I wonder why this person didn't get back to me. So that's fine. That's their choice. I'm not here to force people to speak to me if they don't wish to correspond with me, they don't feel comfortable with that. That's totally fine. I've said my piece, I've said what I wanted to say, and I've wrapped my stuff up and gone. Sometimes, yeah, you will look stupid, sometimes you do feel stupid, and that's normal. But part of life, and I tell everybody watching this, is taking risks repeatedly over and over again. You look crazy, you look stupid, who cares? At least you're trying. Because the worst thing in that prison of excellence is you never try. It's always tomorrow. It's always, I have these great ideas, but you know, I'll do it next week, or I'll do it when I look perfect, or I'll do it when I have better clothes, or I'll do it when I look better. I would say the time is now. Sometimes the time is not now, and I do believe in that. We do have pressing issues that we struggle with on a daily basis, right? We may have, you know, our families we have to look after, or we have something going on in the household, someone's moving house, someone's passed away, somebody's business tanked, somebody's this, you know, lots of things are happening on a daily basis. We don't know, someone's kid became ill, someone had to be rushed to the hospital. So there are always I guess extenuating circumstances, or circumstances that we have not accounted for. But the most important thing is just going ahead and doing it. You want something, go ahead and message it. Because I can guarantee you people are not stopping you. The real problem and the real kicker is you stop yourself. I know I've done it in myself, and I watch it when my clients do it as well, where they feel everything needs to be all imperfect before things happen. No. I have met some very influential people in my life where, wow, when I look back, I'm like, God, I was a mess sitting at that table. Like, there's a part of me that feels embarrassed. I'm like, man, I wish I would have done a little bit more makeup that day. I wish I looked a little better. I wish I'd worn a little better clothes, or, but the most important thing is I didn't care what I was wearing or what I looked like in the moment. I just went ahead and said it. I went ahead and expressed my opinion. I went ahead and asked somebody something. And I was never hiding behind an image, although I'm a huge fan of having a good image and being presented and being polished, of course. I never let that stop me. I never let it get to the point where I kept telling myself a fake story in my head, like, well, I'm not worthy of this because blah, 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 blah. And self-worth is also tied into this video. It can go deep. Someone can say one sentence to you. I remember a sentence that a family member said to my mom when I was about 18, after my father passed away. And that sentence fucked with me for years when it came to receiving help from men. It was a family member that said it to my mom. And that line really destroyed my self-worth, especially when it came to receiving from men. It was a man, obviously. And every time I would meditate and close my eyes, those words would ring in my head over and over and over again, that it took me great amounts of courage to just sit there and say, fine, if they didn't want to help, they didn't want to do anything, leave it alone. I just want to get on with my life. So I can guarantee you that in this prison of excellence, there is one thing somebody has said to you over the years. It could be a cutting look if it was a narcissistic family. It could be ew, why are you dressed in that? And then you're constantly conscious for the rest of your life, like, how am I dressed? Am I okay? Do I look good? And you're constantly worried about that. So I would encourage everybody watching this, do the exercise with yourself, sit with yourself, meditate. There'll be that one look, one sentence, one person that's gone ahead and destroyed your confidence and your ability to be able to just go ahead and do it. Go ahead and, fuck it, throw balls out, throw caution to the wind, just go ahead and do it. Because life is all about taking imperfect action. And if you're waiting for always the right time to do it, the right time to say something, there is never going to be a right time. Our lives, we're human beings, our lives are beautiful, chaotic messes, as I've usually said to a lot of my clients, that a lot of us are a mess a lot of the time. So I think the key driver that I want to conclude this video is that just go ahead and do it. Whatever it is you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're struggling with or not struggling with, and you're hemming and hawing and procrastinating and should I do it, should I not do it, what should I do, just go ahead and do it. Go ahead, pull the trigger and shoot the bullet. That's it. Go ahead and do it, because it's gonna make you feel so much better. It's like people that always say, oh, but I'm too fat to work out. Well, how the hell do you think you're gonna drop the weight? That's the thing. Go ahead and do it. Oh, well, these clothes don't fit me. I need to lose this weight. Well, get the clothes that do fit you now, and as the journey goes on, you can go into those clothes. Well, I love this woman, but I think she's out of my league. How do I ask her out? It's called sending her a message, calling her, messaging her. You never know. She's open to it. Maybe she likes you too. So you don't know, right? Or what should I say? I want a business deal with this person. Go ahead and ask them. Nobody's God. Don't let somebody's figures in their account or whatever bullshit it is, intimidate you. A lot of people are intimidated by money because they worship money. God is not God for them. Money is their God. So it's like it's almost like fearing it. They have this awe for money, but then there's also fearing it as well. And you can't approach something with boldness if you fear it all the time. So the predominant thing when it comes to the prison of excellence is finding your key fears, your real deep fears inside, all the places that you're like, I want to cover myself up with a blanket. I mean, literally and figuratively, it's cold over here in London now. And really addressing the places that you need to be able to help yourself in order for you to be able to help other people. All right? Like, comment, share, subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this quick and fast and peppy video. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to hear like maybe what maybe you've struggled with, or if there's anything we can help you with at Spartanite. But just to remember that the best action is always the action you haven't thought too much about. It's I want it, I'm getting it, let's go. All right, take care. I hope you have a good day. Bye.